Hello. This lesson is all inspired by Alexander Calder, and I just want to walk you through the steps of what you need to do to get started. So the first thing is you're going to take a piece of paper, and I'll have those available for you. It's better to use a thick piece, so I'll have some poster board for you. And you're going to think about how you're going to segment this piece of paper into about 8 shapes. You could do more, but the more you do, the more challenging it will become. Try to keep the shapes similar, and I'll do that for you now. So I'm going to just use a Sharpie, but I'd suggest you draw with a pencil first. And try not to make your shapes too complex. Keep them more on the organic side, meaning that the shapes have a more curved edge as opposed to a really jagged or up and down surface. So here's what I have here. Now yours could look completely different. You certainly could have some geometric shapes with more pointed edges, but I chose to make it fairly straightforward, fairly simple. Okay, so you begin with that. And then you're going to cut out, I suggest, one shape at a time, although you could conceivably skip the cutting until the very end and do all the decorating first. But I think for this purpose, I think it's easier to cut them out as you go. So I'm going to cut one out here. And when I cut, I like to turn the paper instead of the scissor. I think that just makes cutting a little bit easier. So eventually you're going to cut out all the shapes, but for this I'm just going to cut out one. So you can see I've cut out one of my shapes. And now you're going to decorate it. And each of the shapes I want you to decorate according to your final purpose. What are you wanting your work to look like? So I'm just going to show you a few options here. You could certainly use Sharpie for this. I really like Sharpie because it gives a really bold line and it's got nice contrast. And you can focus on the design instead of the media, but you can use any drawing media. You could use paint as well, or even collage. But for this lesson, I want you to stick with drawing media. So I'm going to begin to do my design, and I'm kind of trying to create a texture here. And you can see how I've started to do that just by drawing a series of lines. I'm creating a texture, kind of a crosshatch. I could try to do that with a variety of sizes of markers if I wanted. I could try doing different colors and so on. But that's the idea. And you can do anything. You could do solid color, or you could do all a theme. You could do all warm colors or all cool colors, or maybe you have an image in your mind. But that's why we do sketches first, so you can get those ideas out. So eventually you're going to cut out all your shapes. I'm going to cut out just one more to show you how to kind of complete this assignment. So each shape will be designed, and you want to think about the fact that this is a sculpture, so you're working in 3 dimensions, meaning you're going to see both sides of the work. So eventually you'll want to think about how to use each side, right? Now you could do one side with one kind of design and another differently, but I think for me, I would keep it simple and do the same design or something similar on both sides. But eventually you're going to have to attach these shapes. You're going to have to make them all fit together. And I'd suggest you kind of play around with that first before you begin cutting. But when you're ready to cut, here's how you do it. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to use this flat edge as a base. And you don't have to do that. You could have it this way or even this way, but I'm just going to use this flat edge as a base. So I'm going to simply cut a notch in that shape, okay? And now I want this piece to fit inside of here. Now I could just simply lay it on there like that, but that's not going to give it much strength. So what I want to do is sort of estimate how much space I need to cut to get this to fit flush. And I'll show you what I mean right now. So I'm just going to cut a notch in this piece as well. And now when I attach these two pieces together, they'll really slide together nicely, and they will create this base or foundation for my sculpture, and then I could continue to add layers to it. And I could make it really tall, or I could make it really wide. And you can see, based on the Alexander Calder, the Stabil series that he did, all the different ways he did that with metal. But hopefully that'll get you started, and I hope you enjoy this project.